Chapter 1. A New Beginning. Jensen Huang was born on February 17, 1963, in a small village in Taiwan. The village was peaceful, with green hills and quiet rivers. Jensen's parents worked hard. They believed in education and wanted a better future for their children. But life in Taiwan was not easy. Jobs were scarce, and the family had to make a difficult decision. They decided to move to Thailand to seek better opportunities. Thailand was a beautiful country, but it was not home. Jensen was just a small boy when they moved, and everything felt different. The food, the language, the people, everything was unfamiliar. His parents tried their best, but life in Thailand was still hard. They ran a small business to make ends meet. Money was tight, and the family faced many struggles. Jensen often felt out of place, like he didn't belong. At the age of 9, Jensen's life changed again. His parents decided to send him and his older brother to the United States. They hoped their children would have more opportunities there. It was a brave decision, but it wasn't easy. Jensen and his brother had to leave their parents behind. They traveled alone, with only a suitcase and a lot of courage. When Jensen arrived in the United States, he felt overwhelmed. The streets were big and noisy. The houses looked different. The people spoke English, a language he barely understood. He held his brother's hand tightly and tried to stay calm. Inside, he felt scared. Would he fit in? Would he make friends? Jensen and his brother stayed with relatives in Kentucky. Their relatives were kind, but life was still challenging. Jensen missed his parents every day. He wrote them letters, hoping they would reply soon. At school, things were even harder. Jensen was the only Asian boy in his class. Some children teased him because he looked different. But Jensen didn't give up. He studied hard and worked on his English. He spent hours reading books and practicing new words. Sometimes he stayed up late at night, staring at the stars and thinking about his family in Taiwan. He promised himself he would make them proud. After some time in Kentucky, the brothers moved to Oregon to live with another relative. This change brought new challenges, but also new opportunities. Oregon had beautiful forests and rivers. Jensen loved the nature around him, but he stayed focused on his studies. He was determined to succeed. One day at school, a teacher noticed Jensen's talent in math and science. The teacher encouraged him to join a special program for gifted students. Jensen hesitated. He wasn't sure if he was good enough. But with his brother's support, he decided to try. The program opened Jensen's eyes to a world of possibilities. He discovered that he loved solving problems. Math became his favorite subject. Numbers made sense to him when words didn't. Slowly, he began to feel more confident. Even as he worked hard at school, Jensen never forgot his family. He dreamed of helping them one day. Every achievement felt like a step closer to that dream. He imagined calling his parents and telling them, "I did it." Jensen's childhood was not easy, but it shaped him. Moving from Taiwan to Thailand, then to the United States, taught him to adapt. Facing challenges at school taught him resilience. And being far from his parents taught him the value of family. By the time Jensen reached high school, he had become a strong, determined young man. He was ready to take on the world. But deep down, he still had questions. Where did he belong? Could he find his place in this new country? One day, as he walked home from school, Jensen saw a small electronics store. Inside the window, there was a shiny new computer. It was like nothing he had ever seen before. He stopped and stared at it. The lights blinked and the screen glowed. It seemed alive. He felt a spark of excitement. That computer stayed in his mind for days. He didn't know how it worked, but he wanted to find out. He started reading about technology and machines. He realized that computers were more than just tools. They could change the world. Jensen didn't know it yet, but this moment would shape his future. He would go on to build something that would change technology forever. But for now, he was just a boy with a big dream and an even bigger heart. Looking back, Jensen's early life was full of challenges, but it was also full of lessons. Each move, each struggle, and each question prepared him for the journey ahead. The world didn't know his name yet, but it soon would. This was only the beginning of Jensen Huang's incredible story. Chapter 2. The Curious Boy. Jensen Huang was always curious. Even as a small child, he asked many questions. He wanted to know how things worked. Why does the sun rise? How do birds fly? Why does the rain fall? His parents smiled at his questions and encouraged his curiosity. At home, Jensen loved spending time with books. His parents didn't have much money, but they made sure he had books to read. Some were old and worn, but Jensen didn't mind. He flipped through the pages, eager to learn. Science books were his favorite. They were full of exciting ideas about the world. Jensen also loved puzzles. He could sit for hours trying to solve them. Each piece had a place, and he wanted to find it. When he finished a puzzle, he felt proud. It was like solving a little mystery. This love for solving problems stayed with him as he grew older. At school, Jensen was a quiet boy. He didn't talk much in class, but his teachers noticed something special about him. He listened carefully and thought deeply. When the teacher asked questions, Jensen's answers were often surprising. He wasn't just smart, he saw things differently. One day, Jensen's teacher gave him a new challenge. It was a math problem that no one else could solve. The numbers looked confusing, but Jensen didn't give up. He stared at the board, thinking hard. Suddenly, the answer came to him. His teacher smiled and said, "Good job, Jensen." That moment made him feel confident. But Jensen's curiosity wasn't just about books and math. He was curious about everything around him. He wanted to know how machines worked. He watched his father fix tools at home and asked questions. Why does this part move? What happens if you turn it this way? His father patiently explained, and Jensen listened carefully. One afternoon, something happened that changed Jensen's life forever. He was walking past a store when he saw a machine in the window. It was a computer. The screen glowed and the lights blinked. Jensen stopped and stared. He had never seen anything like it before. "What is that?" he whispered to himself. Inside the store, a man was typing on the computer. The keys clicked, and images appeared on the screen. Jensen couldn't believe his eyes. The computer seemed alive. It could think, it could create, it could solve problems. Jensen felt his heart race. He had so many questions. How did the computer work? What made it light up? How could it answer questions? He wanted to know everything about it. That night, Jensen couldn't stop thinking about the computer. He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. He imagined himself sitting at a desk, typing on a keyboard. He imagined the screen lighting up and showing him amazing things. The next day, Jensen asked his teacher about computers. "What are they for?" he asked. The teacher smiled. "Computers can do many things. They help us solve problems, write stories, and even play games." "Can I learn how to use one?" Jensen asked eagerly. The teacher nodded. "Of course, Jensen, but it takes time and practice. Are you ready to work hard?" "Yes," Jensen said without hesitation. Jensen began to read about computers. He found books in the library and borrowed magazines. Some of the words were difficult, but he didn't give up. He looked up words he didn't understand and asked his teachers for help. Slowly, he began to understand how computers worked. At school, Jensen talked about computers with his friends. Most of them didn't know much about them. Computers were new, and not many people had seen one. But Jensen's excitement was contagious. His friends listened as he explained what he had learned. One day, the school brought a computer to the classroom. It was old and slow, but Jensen didn't care. He couldn't wait to try it. The teacher showed the students how to turn it on and type simple commands. Jensen watched carefully, his eyes wide with wonder. When it was his turn, Jensen felt nervous. His hands trembled as he touched the keyboard. He typed the first command, and the screen changed. Words appeared, and Jensen smiled. It felt like magic. After that day, Jensen spent as much time as he could with the school computer. He stayed after class to learn more. He experimented with the programs and tried new things. Sometimes, the computer didn't do what he wanted, but he didn't get frustrated. Instead, he thought, "What did I do wrong? How can I fix it?" Each time he solved a problem, Jensen felt a sense of achievement. He was learning something new, something exciting. At home, Jensen told his family about the computer. His parents didn't fully understand it, but they could see how excited he was. His brother teased him, saying, "Maybe one day you'll make your own computer." Jensen laughed, but deep down, he wondered, could he? As the years went by, Jensen's curiosity grew. He learned about more than just computers. He read about technology, science, and engineering. He wanted to know how the world worked, and he believed technology could make it better. But Jensen's journey was not always easy. Sometimes he felt lonely. Other kids didn't share his interests. They liked sports and games, while Jensen wanted to talk about circuits and programs. He often felt different. Yet, he didn't let this stop him. He believed in his dreams. He knew that curiosity was his strength. It pushed him to keep learning, to keep growing. Looking back, Jensen would say that seeing that first computer was a turning point in his life. It lit a spark in him, a spark that would one day change the world. Jensen was still a boy, but he was no ordinary boy. He was a curious boy, a determined boy, a boy with a vision, and his story was just beginning. Chapter 3. Dreams of Silicon Valley. Jensen Huang dreamed of something big. He wanted to change the world with technology. But first, he needed an education. After high school, Jensen started studying engineering at Oregon State University. It was a new chapter in his life. At Oregon State, Jensen discovered that engineering was not easy. His classes were tough. There were long lectures, hard assignments, and endless equations. Many nights he stayed up late, staring at pages filled with numbers. Sometimes he felt tired. Sometimes he doubted himself. "Can I do this?" he wondered. But Jensen didn't quit. He worked hard every day. He spent hours in the library, reading and solving problems. When something was difficult, he tried again and again. Slowly, he started to understand. One of Jensen's professors noticed his dedication. The professor often said, "Jensen, you have a sharp mind. Don't stop pushing yourself." These words stayed with him. They gave him the confidence to keep going. Outside of class, Jensen liked to tinker with machines. He built small gadgets and experimented with electronics. He enjoyed creating things with his hands. It reminded him of the puzzles he loved as a child. During his time at Oregon State, Jensen heard about Silicon Valley. It was a place in California where technology companies were growing fast. People called it the center of innovation. Jensen read stories about brilliant engineers and entrepreneurs who started small companies in their garages. Those companies became giants like Apple, Intel, and HP. Jensen imagined himself there. He pictured tall buildings, bright offices, and smart people solving big problems. He wanted to be a part of it. But could a boy from Taiwan make it to Silicon Valley? After graduating from Oregon State, Jensen decided to take the next step. He applied to Stanford University, one of the best schools in the world. Stanford was close to Silicon Valley, and many of its students went on to work there. Getting into Stanford wasn't easy. Jensen needed excellent grades, strong recommendations, and a clear vision for his future. He wrote an application essay explaining his passion for technology. He talked about his dreams and the challenges he had overcome. When the acceptance letter arrived, Jensen couldn't believe it. He was thrilled. His family was proud of him too. Going to Stanford was a big achievement. But Jensen knew it was just the beginning. At Stanford, life became even harder. The classes were more advanced. The students were brilliant and competitive. Sometimes Jensen felt like he didn't belong. He wasn't the richest or the smartest student, but he had something special: determination. Jensen spent long hours in the computer lab. He learned about programming, circuits, and algorithms. He often worked late into the night, surrounded by glowing screens. His classmates went home to rest, but Jensen stayed. He wanted to learn everything he could. One night, after hours of studying, Jensen stepped outside to get some air. The campus was quiet. He looked up at the stars and thought about his journey. From Taiwan to Thailand, from Oregon to Stanford. It had been a long road, but he wasn't finished yet. During his time at Stanford, Jensen made important connections. He met professors who inspired him and classmates who shared his interests. They talked about ideas, projects, and dreams. Many of them wanted to start their own companies one day. Jensen also learned about the history of Silicon Valley. In the 1950s and 60s, the valley was full of orchards and small towns. But by the 1980s, it had become the heart of the tech industry. Companies like IBM and Xerox were building the future. Jensen knew he was in the right place. He wanted to be part of this exciting world, but he didn't know how to start. One day, Jensen attended a talk by a famous entrepreneur. The speaker said, "Success doesn't come overnight. It takes hard work, creativity, and the courage to take risks." Jensen listened carefully. Those words stayed in his mind. At Stanford, Jensen worked on projects that challenged him. One of his favorite projects involved designing a computer chip. It was small, but powerful. He spent weeks working on it, testing and improving his design. When the project was finished, his professor praised his work. "You have a talent for innovation," the professor said. Hearing those words made Jensen feel proud. He started to believe that he could achieve his dreams. But Jensen also faced setbacks. Sometimes his ideas didn't work. Sometimes he failed exams or made mistakes in his projects. These moments were frustrating, but instead of giving up, Jensen saw them as lessons. Each failure taught him something new. As his time at Stanford came to an end, Jensen began to think about his future. Many of his classmates already had job offers from big companies like Intel and Microsoft. They were excited to start their careers. Jensen was excited too. But he didn't just want a job. He wanted to create something new. He wanted to build a company that could change the world. After graduating from Stanford, Jensen moved closer to Silicon Valley. He started working at a tech company, but he didn't stop dreaming. He spent his free time thinking about new ideas. He read books about business and technology. One evening, while walking through the busy streets of the valley, Jensen felt inspired. The air was full of energy. People were working on projects that could shape the future. He wanted to do the same. Someday, Jensen thought, I'll build something amazing. He didn't know what that something would be. He didn't know how long it would take. But he knew one thing. He wouldn't stop trying. Jensen's journey to Silicon Valley was not easy. It was full of challenges, late nights, and tough decisions. But each step brought him closer to his dream. As he looked ahead, Jensen felt a mix of excitement and fear. The road was uncertain, but he was ready to take the next step. Chapter 4. The Birth of NVIDIA. In 1993, Jensen Huang had a bold idea. He wanted to change the world of computers. He believed computers could do more than they did at the time. They could be faster, smarter, and more powerful. But Jensen couldn't do it alone. Jensen talked to two friends, Chris Malachowski and Curtis Priem. Both were engineers like him. They shared his vision for the future of technology. Together, they decided to start a company. They called it NVIDIA. At the time, computers were mostly used for simple tasks. They could type documents, calculate numbers, and play basic games. But Jensen had a bigger dream. He wanted to create a special chip that could handle graphics. This chip would make computers better at showing images and playing games. It would be called a GPU, a graphics processing unit. Starting a company wasn't easy. Jensen, Chris, and Curtis didn't have much money. They worked out of a small office. Some days, they skipped meals to save money. Jensen joked that they were living on ramen and dreams. But it wasn't really a joke. Times were tough. The three founders divided the work. Jensen focused on leading the team and planning the future. Chris worked on the technology, and Curtis designed the hardware. They were a small team with a big goal. But could they succeed? The first challenge was finding investors. Jensen needed people to believe in their idea and give them money to build it. He went to meetings and made speeches explaining why GPUs were important. Sometimes, investors said no. They thought GPUs were too risky. Other times, they asked hard questions. What if this doesn't work? They asked. Jensen answered with confidence. It will work, he said, because we believe in it. After months of hard work, NVIDIA finally got their first investor. It was a small step, but it gave the team hope. They used the money to hire a few more people and buy better equipment. Now, the real work began. The team worked long hours in the office. Sometimes they stayed until midnight, testing new designs. Other times they started early in the morning, fixing problems. The office was full of coffee cups, notebooks, and wires. One day, they faced a big problem. The chip they were designing didn't work as planned. It overheated and stopped working. The team felt frustrated. "What are we doing wrong?" Jensen asked. But instead of giving up, they went back to the drawing board. They looked at every detail and found the mistake. Then they tried again. This cycle of failure and success became normal. Every time something didn't work, the team found a way to fix it. They believed in their dream, and they wouldn't stop until it became real. By 1995, NVIDIA had created their first product. It was a GPU called NV1. It could process graphics and improve video games. Jensen and his team were excited to share it with the world. But when NV1 launched, it didn't sell well. Gamers liked the idea, but the chip had some problems. It wasn't perfect. Some critics said NVIDIA had failed. Jensen felt disappointed, but he didn't give up. "We learned something important," he told his team. "Next time, we'll do better." And they did. In 1997, NVIDIA launched a new GPU called Riva 128. This time, it was a success. Gamers loved it, and NVIDIA became a well-known name in the tech world. The team celebrated, but Jensen reminded them to stay focused. "This is just the beginning," he said. "We have so much more to do." NVIDIA continued to grow. The team made better and faster GPUs every year. By the early 2000s, their chips were used in computers around the world. NVIDIA had become a leader in the industry. But Jensen's dream didn't stop there. In the 2010s, he saw a new opportunity: artificial intelligence, AI. Jensen realized that GPUs could do more than graphics. They could help machines think like humans. He called it the next big thing. NVIDIA started working on GPUs for AI. These chips were used by scientists, doctors, and engineers. They helped solve big problems like finding cures for diseases and improving self-driving cars. Jensen's small company had become a global success, but he never forgot the early days. He remembered the tiny office, the long nights, and the big risks. Looking back, Jensen often said, "It wasn't easy, but it was worth it." The birth of NVIDIA wasn't just a story of technology. It was a story of teamwork, perseverance, and believing in a dream. Jensen and his friends started with nothing but an idea. That idea grew into something that changed the world. And the story of NVIDIA was far from over. Chapter 5. GPUs Change Everything. In 1999, NVIDIA introduced a revolutionary product. It was called the GeForce 256, and it was the world's first graphics processing unit, GPU. Jensen Huang and his team had worked tirelessly to create it. The GPU could process graphics faster than ever before. It was a breakthrough. When the GPU was released, people were amazed. Gamers loved how it made video games look more realistic. For the first time, characters and landscapes seemed to come alive on the screen. Lights glowed, shadows moved naturally, and everything felt smoother. Jensen was proud, but he wasn't satisfied. He believed the GPU could do more than just improve games. It could change the way people used computers. He told his team, "This is only the beginning." The gaming revolution. Before GPUs, games were simple. Graphics were basic, with blocky shapes and dull colors. Gamers dreamed of better visuals, but the technology wasn't ready. The GPU changed everything. With the GeForce 256, games became beautiful and immersive. Players could explore detailed worlds and see lifelike animations. Suddenly, gaming was more than just a hobby. It was an experience. Game developers were thrilled. The GPU gave them new tools to create stunning visuals. They could design games that pushed the limits of imagination. From racing cars to fantasy adventures, anything seemed possible. The gaming industry exploded in popularity. Millions of people around the world started playing video games. For many, it became a way to connect with friends, escape reality, and tell stories. Jensen often said, "We didn't just make better graphics, we made people smile." Beyond gaming. But the GPU wasn't just for fun. Scientists and engineers soon realized its power. The GPU could handle complex calculations much faster than traditional computer chips. One of the first fields to use GPUs was medicine. Doctors and researchers used them to study diseases. With GPUs, they could process large amounts of data quickly. This helped them find patterns and test new treatments. In hospitals, GPUs powered machines that looked inside the human body. These machines created clear, detailed images of organs and tissues. Doctors could use these images to diagnose illnesses and plan surgeries. GPUs were also used in space exploration. Scientists studying the universe needed powerful tools to analyze data. GPUs helped them process information from telescopes and satellites. They could map stars, study black holes, and even search for other planets. In factories, GPUs powered robots. These robots were smarter and faster than ever before. They could assemble cars, pack boxes, and sort materials. Jensen often said, "The GPU is not just for entertainment. It's for discovery. It's for solving the world's biggest problems." Artificial intelligence, AI. In the early 2000s, people started talking about artificial intelligence, AI. AI is when machines learn to think and make decisions like humans. It's a complex field, and it requires a lot of computing power. Jensen realized that GPUs could help. They were perfect for AI because they could process data quickly and efficiently. NVIDIA started working on GPUs specifically designed for AI. One of the first successes was in self-driving cars. These cars use AI to navigate roads, avoid obstacles, and follow traffic rules. GPUs became the brain of these cars, helping them make decisions in real time. GPUs also played a role in voice assistants like Alexa and Siri. These devices use AI to understand and respond to speech. They rely on GPUs to process language quickly. AI was growing fast, and NVIDIA was at the center of it. Jensen's vision was becoming a reality. Challenges and triumphs. The journey wasn't always easy. Some people doubted the power of GPUs. They thought traditional computer chips were enough. Others worried that GPUs were too expensive. Jensen and his team faced these challenges with determination. They kept improving their technology, making GPUs faster and more affordable. Each new product was better than the last. There were moments of doubt. Sometimes projects didn't go as planned, but Jensen believed in his vision. He reminded his team, "Every failure is a lesson. We learn, we adapt, and we move forward." Their hard work paid off. By the 2010s, GPUs were used in almost every industry. From gaming to healthcare, from education to business, GPUs had become essential. A global impact. Jensen's invention didn't just change technology. It changed lives. Students used GPUs to create art and music. Teachers used them to make lessons more interactive. Businesses used them to analyze data and make smarter decisions. Even during disasters, GPUs made a difference. When earthquakes struck, scientists used GPUs to predict aftershocks. When pandemics spread, doctors used GPUs to study the virus. Jensen often said, "Technology is a tool. It's not just about making machines better, it's about making life better." Looking to the future. Today, Jensen continues to dream big. He believes the GPU will play a key role in the future of technology. He talks about new possibilities, like the metaverse, a virtual world where people can meet, work, and play. He also believes GPUs can help fight climate change. By analyzing weather patterns and finding better energy solutions, GPUs could help protect the planet. Jensen's journey from a curious boy to a tech visionary is inspiring. He turned a simple idea into a global revolution. His work shows that curiosity, hard work, and determination can change the world. As Jensen likes to say, the best is yet to come. Before we begin Chapter 6, a quick note for our listeners. You're currently listening to this audiobook on WooEnglish. Remember, this content is specially made for WooEnglish listeners only. If you're hearing it on any other channel, it may be a violation of WooEnglish's rights. Please ensure you're tuned into the right source to fully enjoy and respect this audiobook journey. Now, let's continue the story. Chapter 6. A Leader with Vision. Jensen Huang was more than an inventor. He was a leader. People looked up to him. They admired his vision, his energy, and his determination. He didn't just tell people what to do. He inspired them. Jensen believed that the best ideas came from working together. His team at NVIDIA trusted him, and he trusted them. Jensen was known for his leather jacket. He wore it at conferences, meetings, and big presentations. The jacket became his symbol. It showed his confidence and his unique style. People began to associate the jacket with innovation and bold ideas. But there was more to Jensen than his appearance. His true power was in his words. When he spoke, people listened. Jensen's speeches were full of passion. He talked about the future of technology, the potential of GPUs, and the importance of creativity. His voice was steady, and his words were clear. He explained complicated ideas in a way everyone could understand. Whether he was talking to engineers, investors, or students, he made them believe in his vision. Leading a company like NVIDIA was not easy. The tech world was competitive. Every year, new companies appeared, trying to build better and faster technology. Jensen knew he had to keep NVIDIA ahead of the game. He challenged his team to think differently. He encouraged them to take risks. Innovation comes from bold ideas, he often said. Don't be afraid to fail. But with great leadership came tough choices. Jensen had to make decisions that affected many people. Sometimes, NVIDIA faced financial difficulties. There were moments when the company had to cut costs and reduce staff. These decisions were painful. Jensen cared deeply about his team. He knew their hard work made NVIDIA strong, but he also knew that to survive, the company needed to adapt. One of the hardest times came in the early 2000s. NVIDIA was competing with another company, ATI. Both were making GPUs, and the market was fierce. Jensen's team worked day and night to create better products. They wanted to stay ahead. But then, something unexpected happened. One of NVIDIA's GPUs had a problem. It didn't perform as well as expected. Customers complained and sales dropped. Jensen felt the weight of the situation. The future of the company was at risk. He gathered his team and said, "We can't change the past, but we can fix this. Let's focus on what's next." His calm yet determined attitude gave everyone hope. The team worked harder than ever. They solved the problems, improved the GPU, and released a new version. The new product was a success, and NVIDIA recovered. Moments like these tested Jensen's leadership. He learned that failure wasn't the end. It was a chance to grow. He often told his team, "Every challenge is an opportunity. It's how we respond that matters." Jensen's leadership also shone during times of growth. As NVIDIA expanded, the company needed to hire more people. Jensen wanted to build a team that shared his vision. He looked for talented engineers, creative thinkers, and people who weren't afraid to dream big. He often said, "Our greatest strength is our team. Together, we can do anything." Jensen believed in creating a positive work environment. He encouraged open communication and collaboration. At NVIDIA, everyone's ideas mattered. Engineers could share their thoughts freely. Designers could propose bold concepts. Jensen knew that great ideas often came from unexpected places. One of Jensen's greatest strengths was his ability to see the future. He didn't just focus on the present. He thought about what technology could do in 5, 10, or even 20 years. This vision guided NVIDIA's decisions. When other companies hesitated to take risks, NVIDIA moved forward. Jensen believed in the power of innovation. One example of his forward thinking was NVIDIA's move into artificial intelligence, AI. In the early days of AI, many people didn't see its potential, but Jensen did. He saw how GPUs could power AI systems. He invested heavily in AI research and development. At first, some people thought it was a mistake. They said it was too risky. But Jensen stayed confident. He believed in his vision, and he was right. Today, NVIDIA is a leader in AI technology. Despite his success, Jensen remained humble. He often said that he couldn't have done it alone. He credited his team, his family, and the people who supported him. Jensen's humility made him a respected leader. He listened to others and valued their opinions. Over the years, Jensen became a role model for many young engineers and entrepreneurs. People admired his determination, his courage, and his ability to stay calm under pressure. They saw him as someone who turned challenges into opportunities. His story inspired others to chase their dreams, no matter how big. Jensen's leadership wasn't just about technology. It was about people. He cared about the world and wanted to make it better. NVIDIA's GPUs were used in medicine, education, and environmental research. Jensen often talked about the importance of using technology for good. Innovation is not just about profit, he said. It's about impact. As a leader, Jensen also thought about the future of the planet. He encouraged NVIDIA to focus on sustainability. The company worked on creating energy-efficient technology. They wanted to reduce waste and protect the environment. Jensen believed that technology should help, not harm, the world. Jensen's journey as a leader was filled with ups and downs. There were moments of doubt, but there were also moments of triumph. Through it all, he remained focused on his vision. He knew that leadership wasn't just about making decisions. It was about inspiring people to believe in something bigger than themselves. Jensen Huang showed the world what it meant to be a leader with vision. He proved that with hard work, determination, and a clear goal, anything was possible. His story is a reminder that true leadership isn't about power. It's about purpose. Chapter 7. The AI Breakthrough. Artificial intelligence, or AI, was changing the world. Machines were starting to do things only humans could do before. They could learn, make decisions, and solve problems. This was exciting, but it was also very new. Many people didn't understand it yet. They didn't see how big it could become. But Jensen Huang did. Jensen believed AI was the future. He saw its potential before most people. He knew AI would need powerful computers to work, and he knew NVIDIA's GPUs could be the key. GPUs weren't just for gaming anymore. They could help machines process huge amounts of data. This was exactly what AI needed. Jensen shared his vision with his team. AI will change everything, he said. We have to be ready. The team trusted him. They began working on GPUs that could power AI systems. It was a bold move. Other companies were focused on different technologies. Some thought AI was just a dream. But Jensen didn't listen to the doubters. He believed in his vision. The first big breakthrough came in 2012. Researchers at a university used NVIDIA GPUs to train an AI system. The system was called a neural network. It could recognize objects in pictures better than ever before. People were amazed. Suddenly, everyone was talking about GPUs and AI. NVIDIA was at the center of this new world. Scientists, engineers, and companies all wanted to use NVIDIA's GPUs for their AI projects. Jensen was thrilled, but he also felt the pressure. We're leading the way, he told his team. We can't slow down now. One of the most exciting areas of AI was self-driving cars. These cars used AI to navigate roads, avoid obstacles, and make decisions. But they needed powerful computers to do this in real time. NVIDIA's GPUs became the brain of these cars. They helped the cars see and think. Jensen loved this idea. He often said, AI isn't just about machines. It's about helping people. AI was also changing other fields. In hospitals, doctors used AI to study diseases and find treatments. In schools, teachers used AI to create better learning tools. Even artists used AI to make music, paintings, and films. Jensen was proud to see NVIDIA's technology making a difference. But there were challenges too. Not everyone trusted AI. Some people worried it could take jobs or invade privacy. Others thought it was too powerful. Jensen understood these concerns. He believed AI should be used responsibly. Technology is a tool, he said. It's up to us to use it wisely. NVIDIA didn't stop at making GPUs. Jensen wanted to create complete systems for AI. The team worked on software and hardware that worked together perfectly. This made it easier for people to use AI in their work. Jensen called it the AI platform. It was like giving people all the tools they needed to build something amazing. In 2016, NVIDIA introduced a new product called the DGX-1. It was a supercomputer designed for AI. It could process data incredibly fast. Researchers called it a rocket ship for AI. Jensen was proud of his team. This is just the start, he said. As AI grew, so did NVIDIA. The company became one of the most important players in the tech world. Jensen was invited to speak at conferences around the globe. He talked about the future of AI and how it could help humanity. His leather jacket and passionate speeches became famous. People saw him as a visionary. One of Jensen's favorite projects was using AI to fight climate change. Scientists used GPUs to study weather patterns and create models of the Earth. These models helped predict storms, droughts, and other natural events. Jensen believed this work could save lives. AI was also helping during disasters. When earthquakes struck or wildfires spread, AI analyzed satellite images to find the worst-hit areas. This made it easier for rescue teams to help people. Jensen often said, "Technology has the power to do good. That's why we build it." In factories, AI was making production faster and smarter. Robots used GPUs to sort materials, assemble products, and check for defects. This reduced waste and improved quality. Businesses around the world relied on NVIDIA's technology to stay competitive. But AI wasn't just for experts. Jensen wanted everyone to benefit from it. He supported programs that taught students about AI. NVIDIA created free tools for teachers and developers. Jensen believed knowledge should be shared. "The future belongs to the curious," he said. The rise of AI brought new opportunities, but it also brought competition. Other companies started making chips for AI. The market became crowded. Jensen knew NVIDIA couldn't relax. His team had to keep innovating. He often reminded them, "We lead by staying ahead." Jensen's leadership kept NVIDIA strong. He encouraged his team to take risks and think big. He celebrated their successes and learned from their failures. "Every challenge makes us better," he told them. By the 2020s, AI was everywhere. It powered voice assistants, smart homes, and virtual reality. It helped scientists explore space and discover new medicines. NVIDIA was at the heart of this revolution. Jensen's vision had become reality. Looking back, Jensen often said, "AI isn't just a technology. It's a journey. We're building the tools, but the real magic comes from the people who use them." Chapter 8. Storms and Challenges. Jensen Huang had always known that the tech world was unpredictable. Success could come one day and challenges the next. NVIDIA, despite its innovations, was not immune to this. There were times when the company faced storms that tested its strength. These were moments of doubt, frustration, and tough decisions. In the early days of NVIDIA, money was tight, the team was small, and the stakes were high. Jensen worked tirelessly to secure funding. He traveled to meet investors, explaining his vision for GPUs. Some believed in him, but others were skeptical. "What if this fails?" they asked. Jensen didn't have all the answers, but he had hope. He told them, "We're building something that will change the world." As NVIDIA grew, the challenges became bigger. Competitors like ATI were strong. They also made GPUs and fought hard for the same customers. The competition wasn't just about technology. It was about survival. Every new product was a battle. Would NVIDIA's GPU be better, faster, cheaper? These questions kept Jensen awake at night. There were moments when NVIDIA stumbled. One of the company's GPUs failed to perform as expected. Customers complained, and sales dropped. The team felt defeated. Jensen called a meeting. His voice was calm, but his eyes showed determination. "We made a mistake," he admitted, "but mistakes teach us. We'll fix this." The team got to work, improving the product and learning from their errors. Jensen also faced external challenges. The global economy affected the tech industry. When markets crashed, companies cut budgets, people bought fewer computers, and NVIDIA's sales dropped. The company had to adjust quickly. Jensen made hard choices. He reduced costs, delayed projects, and focused on key products. These decisions weren't easy, but they kept NVIDIA alive. Inside the company, Jensen worried about his team. He saw how hard they worked, often staying late into the night. He knew they believed in the mission, but he also saw their stress. Sometimes, he walked around the office, talking to his engineers. "How's it going?" he would ask. They shared their concerns, and Jensen listened. He encouraged them to take breaks and reminded them of their achievements. The pressure wasn't just on the team, it was on Jensen, too. As the CEO, he carried the weight of the company's future. Some nights, he sat alone in his office, thinking about the challenges ahead. He looked at the photos of his family on his desk. They reminded him of why he worked so hard. "We'll get through this," he whispered to himself. Despite the difficulties, there were also moments of hope. Jensen's belief in his team never wavered. He trusted their talent and creativity. When problems arose, he encouraged them to think differently. "Innovation comes from challenges," he said. "This is our chance to grow." One of the toughest times came when NVIDIA tried to expand into new markets. The company wanted to use GPUs for more than gaming. Jensen believed GPUs could power AI, data centers, and scientific research. But entering these markets wasn't easy. Other companies were already leaders in these fields. NVIDIA had to prove itself all over again. At one point, NVIDIA invested heavily in a new product. It was risky, and some people doubted it would work. Jensen faced criticism from investors and the media. "Why take such a big risk?" they asked. Jensen replied, "Because that's how we grow. Without risk, there's no reward." The risk paid off. The product was a success, and NVIDIA gained new customers. This victory reminded the team of their potential. Jensen often said, "The storms make us stronger. Every challenge teaches us something new." Through it all, Jensen stayed focused on the big picture. He believed in the power of technology to change lives. Even when the company struggled, he reminded his team of their mission. "We're not just building GPUs," he said. "We're building the future." There were also personal challenges. As a leader, Jensen had to balance his work with his family. He missed birthdays, dinners, and quiet moments at home. His family supported him, but he often felt torn. He wanted to be there for them, but he also felt a responsibility to his team. This balance was never easy. Jensen learned to rely on his team more. He trusted his managers to handle day-to-day operations. This allowed him to focus on the company's long-term goals. It also gave him more time with his family. These moments of connection gave him strength. Over the years, NVIDIA faced many storms. Some were small, like product delays. Others were large, like economic downturns. But through it all, Jensen's leadership kept the company moving forward. He stayed calm under pressure and made decisions with care. His team respected him for his honesty and determination. Looking back, Jensen often said, "The challenges shaped us. They made us who we are." He believed that every storm was an opportunity to grow. This mindset kept NVIDIA resilient, even in the toughest times. Jensen's story shows that success is not a straight path. It's full of twists, turns, and obstacles. But with courage, teamwork, and vision, even the biggest challenges can be overcome. Jensen often told his team, "We're stronger together. That's how we weather the storms." Today, NVIDIA is a global leader. Its journey is a testament to the power of perseverance. Jensen's leadership turned challenges into opportunities and setbacks into successes. His story continues to inspire people around the world, reminding them that even in the face of storms, there is always hope. Chapter 9. Gaming for the World. Jensen Huang believed in the power of gaming. He saw it as more than just entertainment. To him, gaming was a way to bring people together, to inspire creativity, and to explore new worlds. NVIDIA's GPUs made games look incredible. Players could dive into realistic environments with lifelike characters and stunning landscapes. The smooth graphics brought games to life in a way that had never been seen before. But Jensen wasn't satisfied. He wanted more. He dreamed of making gaming accessible to everyone. Not just for a few people with expensive computers, but for the whole world. He imagined families playing together, students using gaming for learning, and communities connecting through shared adventures. To achieve this, NVIDIA worked hard to improve its technology. They developed new GPUs that were faster, smaller, and more affordable. Jensen's team spent long hours testing designs and solving problems. Each new product was better than the last. The graphics became sharper, the colors brighter, and the performance smoother. Gamers noticed the difference. They loved how NVIDIA's GPUs transformed their favorite games. One of the biggest breakthroughs came with the release of real-time ray tracing. This technology made light and shadows in games look real. Sunlight streamed through windows, reflections danced on water, and shadows moved naturally. For the first time, games looked almost like movies. Gamers were amazed. They called it a revolution. But Jensen knew gaming wasn't just about visuals. It was also about speed. No one wanted a game that froze or lagged during an important moment. NVIDIA's GPUs were designed to keep games running smoothly, even during the most intense battles. This made the gaming experience more enjoyable and immersive. As NVIDIA's reputation grew, so did the gaming industry. Millions of people around the world became gamers. They played on PCs, consoles, and even mobile devices. NVIDIA supported all of them. The company partnered with game developers to optimize games for their GPUs. This partnership made games more fun and exciting for everyone. Jensen also saw the potential of gaming beyond fun. He believed it could be used for education and training. With NVIDIA's technology, students could explore virtual museums, scientists could simulate experiments, and pilots could practice flying. Gaming wasn't just for entertainment. It was a tool for learning and discovery. One of the most exciting developments was esports. Professional gamers competed in tournaments watched by millions of fans. Esports became a global phenomenon, with teams from every continent. NVIDIA's GPUs powered many of these competitions. Jensen loved seeing how his work brought people together. He often said, "Gaming isn't just about playing, it's about connecting." But the journey wasn't always easy. Gaming technology was expensive to develop. NVIDIA had to invest heavily in research and production. Competitors were strong, and the market was unpredictable. Jensen sometimes worried about whether his dream was realistic. Could they really bring gaming to every home? He didn't have all the answers, but he didn't stop trying. One challenge came from cloud gaming. This technology allowed people to play games without owning a powerful computer. Instead, the games ran on remote servers, and players streamed them over the internet. NVIDIA entered this space with their GeForce Now platform. It wasn't perfect at first. There were technical issues, and not all games were available. But Jensen believed in its potential. "This is the future," he said. "We're bringing gaming to everyone, everywhere." GeForce Now allowed people to play high-quality games on any device, from old laptops to smartphones. It broke down barriers and made gaming more accessible. Slowly, more players joined the platform. They loved being able to play their favorite games without needing expensive hardware. Jensen also focused on making gaming inclusive. He wanted everyone to feel welcome, no matter their background or ability. NVIDIA developed tools to make games more accessible for people with disabilities. They worked with developers to create features like customizable controls and text-to-speech options. For Jensen, this was personal. He believed technology should bring people together, not leave anyone behind. The impact of NVIDIA's work was felt around the world. In developing countries, people who had never played a video game before could now join the gaming community. In schools, students used games to learn math, science, and history. In hospitals, patients played games to relax and recover. Gaming became a global language, connecting people across cultures and generations. Jensen often reflected on how far they had come. He remembered the early days of NVIDIA, when the idea of powerful GPUs was just a dream. Now, those GPUs were in millions of homes, powering experiences he could only imagine back then. But he didn't stop dreaming. He wanted to take gaming even further. He talked about the potential of the metaverse, a virtual universe where people could work, play, and interact. With NVIDIA's technology, this vision was becoming possible. Jensen believed the metaverse could bring even more opportunities for creativity, connection, and innovation. Through it all, Jensen remained focused on his mission. He knew there would always be challenges, but he believed in the power of gaming to make the world better. "Gaming is for everyone," he often said. "It's not just about the technology, it's about the people." Today, NVIDIA continues to lead the gaming industry. Jensen's dream of bringing gaming to every home, every desk, and every person is closer than ever. His story is a reminder that with passion, hard work, and a clear vision, even the biggest dreams can come true. Chapter 10. The Heart of Innovation. NVIDIA was no longer just a company making computer chips. It had grown into something much bigger. Under Jensen Huang's leadership, it became a global force in science, technology, and creativity. Its GPUs were not just improving video games anymore. They were powering discoveries, solving problems, and shaping the future. Doctors were some of the first to see how powerful NVIDIA's technology could be. Hospitals used GPUs to process medical images. These images were detailed scans of the human body, like X-rays and MRIs. With GPUs, doctors could see problems more clearly and make faster diagnoses. This technology saved lives. Jensen often said, "If we can help even one patient, it's worth it." In research labs, scientists used NVIDIA's GPUs to study diseases. One of the biggest challenges was understanding cancer. GPUs allowed researchers to process huge amounts of data and test new treatments. They could simulate how a drug might work before trying it on patients. This made research faster and safer. Jensen felt proud every time he heard about a new breakthrough. But medicine wasn't the only field benefiting from GPUs. Space exploration also relied on NVIDIA's technology. Scientists used GPUs to process data from telescopes. They studied stars, planets, and galaxies far away. With the help of GPUs, they made maps of the universe and searched for signs of life. Jensen loved hearing about these discoveries. He often said, "The universe is the greatest mystery, and we're helping to solve it." Artists, too, were using GPUs in creative ways. Filmmakers used them to create special effects in movies. Animators brought characters to life with the help of NVIDIA's technology. Painters used digital tools powered by GPUs to create stunning works of art. Musicians used GPUs to compose new sounds. Jensen believed that technology and art went hand in hand. "Creativity drives innovation," he said, "and innovation inspires creativity." One of the most exciting uses of GPUs was in artificial intelligence. AI was growing fast, and NVIDIA was leading the way. GPUs were perfect for training AI systems. These systems could learn patterns, recognize voices, and even understand language. AI was helping people in many ways. It powered voice assistants, improved online searches, and made predictions in science and business. AI was also helping farmers. With NVIDIA's technology, they could monitor crops, predict weather, and use resources more efficiently. This was important for feeding a growing world. Jensen believed that AI could solve big problems, like hunger and climate change. Education was another area where NVIDIA made a difference. Schools used GPUs to create virtual classrooms. Students could explore historical sites, dive into the ocean, or even travel to space, all without leaving their desks. Teachers used AI to personalize lessons and help students learn better. Jensen often said, "Education is the key to the future. If we can make it better, we should." The impact of NVIDIA's work was everywhere. Businesses used GPUs to analyze data and make smarter decisions. Engineers used them to design bridges, buildings, and cars. Gamers continued to enjoy smoother, more realistic experiences. Jensen saw all of this as part of a bigger picture. "We're not just building technology," he said. "We're building possibilities." But this success didn't come without challenges. Staying at the top of the tech industry was hard. Competitors were always trying to catch up. The market was unpredictable, and technology changed quickly. Jensen knew that NVIDIA had to keep innovating to stay ahead. "We can't stop now," he often told his team. "The future is waiting for us." One of the hardest decisions NVIDIA made was to focus on AI. It was a risky move. Some people thought the company should stick to gaming. Others believed AI was just a trend. But Jensen saw its potential. He believed AI would transform the world, and he wanted NVIDIA to lead the way. The gamble paid off. NVIDIA became the go-to company for AI solutions Its GPUs were used in everything from self-driving cars to medical research. Companies, governments, and universities all turned to NVIDIA for help. Jensen's vision had become reality. Despite the challenges, Jensen never lost sight of his mission. He believed technology should make life better for everyone. NVIDIA supported programs that taught students about AI and coding. They donated GPUs to schools, helping young people learn and create. Jensen loved hearing stories about students who used NVIDIA's tools to build robots, design apps, and start businesses. Jensen's leadership was key to NVIDIA's success. He encouraged his team to think big and take risks. He celebrated their successes and supported them through failures. "Every failure is a step toward success," he often said. His words inspired confidence and resilience. Over the years, Jensen became a role model for many. Young engineers looked up to him. Entrepreneurs admired his courage and vision. People saw him as someone who turned challenges into opportunities. He proved that hard work, curiosity, and determination could change the world. NVIDIA's journey was far from over. Jensen continued to dream of new possibilities. He talked about the metaverse, a virtual world where people could work, play, and interact. He imagined GPUs helping to cure diseases, protect the planet, and unlock the secrets of the universe. His vision seemed limitless. Looking back, Jensen often said, "It's not about where we started. It's about where we're going." NVIDIA had come a long way from its early days in a small office. It had grown into a company that powered innovation across the globe. Jensen's story was a reminder of what was possible with vision and perseverance. Even as NVIDIA reached new heights, Jensen remained humble. He often thanked his team, his family, and the people who supported him. He believed that success was never an individual achievement. "We're stronger together," he said. Jensen Huang's journey is an inspiring story of passion, leadership, and innovation. He turned a simple idea into a global movement. His GPUs became tools for progress, helping people create, discover, and connect. And his vision continues to shape the future. The heart of innovation beats strong at NVIDIA, driven by a leader who dares to dream big. Jensen often says, "The best is yet to come." And with him leading the way, the world is ready for what's next. Chapter 11. Family and Values. Jensen Huang is more than a leader in technology. He is a husband, a father, and a mentor. For Jensen, family has always been at the center of his life. No matter how busy he is, he never forgets the people who have supported him along the way. His values of kindness, hard work, and gratitude shape everything he does. Jensen grew up in a close-knit family. His parents worked hard to provide for him and his siblings. They taught him the value of education and the importance of helping others. Jensen often says that his parents' sacrifices inspired him to push forward, even during the toughest times. "They gave everything for us," he said. "I owe them everything." As a father, Jensen tries to pass these values on to his children. He talks to them about the importance of curiosity and perseverance. He tells them stories about his journey, how he moved to a new country, struggled to fit in, and worked hard to build NVIDIA. His goal isn't just to teach them about success, but to show them how to face challenges with courage. Jensen's wife has also been a constant source of support. She has stood by him through the ups and downs of his career. In interviews, Jensen often says, "Behind every success, there's someone who believes in you." For Jensen, his wife is that person. Her belief in him gave him the strength to take risks and follow his dreams. Balancing work and family hasn't always been easy for Jensen. As the CEO of NVIDIA, his schedule is demanding. There were times when he missed family dinners or important events. Jensen admits that he sometimes felt guilty about this, but he also made an effort to stay connected. He called home whenever he could and tried to spend quality time with his family, even if it was short. One way Jensen stays grounded is by remembering his roots. He often reflects on his journey from a small village in Taiwan to the heart of Silicon Valley. This journey wasn't just about ambition, it was about staying true to his values. Jensen believes that success means nothing if you lose sight of who you are. Always remember where you come from, he says. Kindness is one of the values Jensen holds most dear. In his personal life and his work, he tries to treat everyone with respect. He believes that kindness can change the world. At NVIDIA, he encourages his team to create technology that helps people. He often says, "Technology is a tool for good. It should make life better for everyone." Jensen is also a mentor to many young engineers and entrepreneurs. He shares his experiences and offers advice to those starting their own journeys. He tells them to work hard, stay curious, and never be afraid of failure. "Failure is just another step toward success," he often says. One of Jensen's proudest achievements is the culture he has built at NVIDIA. He wants the company to feel like a family. He believes that teamwork and trust are the foundation of success. At NVIDIA, everyone's voice matters. Engineers, designers, and developers work together to solve problems and create new ideas. This culture of collaboration comes from Jensen's belief in the power of community. Jensen's values also guide NVIDIA's actions outside the office. The company supports education programs, donates technology to schools, and helps communities in need. Jensen believes that businesses have a responsibility to give back. "We're not just here to make money," he says. "We're here to make a difference." Even in difficult times, Jensen's values remain strong. When NVIDIA faced challenges, he stayed calm and focused. He reminded his team to support each other and keep moving forward. His leadership inspired confidence and resilience. "Tough times don't last," he often said, "but tough people do." Jensen also believes in the power of gratitude. He often thanks his team for their hard work and dedication. He knows that NVIDIA's success wouldn't be possible without them. He also takes time to thank his family, friends, and mentors. Their support has been a constant source of strength. Jensen's story is a reminder that values like kindness, hard work, and gratitude are just as important as talent and ambition. These values shaped his life and guided him through challenges. They helped him build NVIDIA into a global leader and inspired others to follow in his footsteps. Despite his success, Jensen remains humble. He doesn't see himself as a hero or a genius. He sees himself as someone who worked hard and stayed true to his beliefs. Success isn't about being the smartest, he says. It's about being the most determined. Jensen's journey shows that you don't have to choose between success and values. You can have both. By staying true to what matters, he built a career that not only changed technology, but also touched lives. His story inspires people to dream big and lead with their hearts. Today, Jensen continues to focus on family and values. He still works hard, but he also makes time for the people who matter most. He knows that at the end of the day, it's not just about what you achieve. It's about how you live. For Jensen, the greatest measure of success isn't awards or recognition. It's the impact he has on others. Whether it's helping a young engineer, supporting a community, or spending time with his family, Jensen's values shine through in everything he does. His life is a testament to the power of kindness, perseverance, and love. Chapter 12. A Vision for Tomorrow. Jensen Huang has always been a dreamer. From his early days as a curious boy to his time leading NVIDIA, he has never stopped looking ahead. Today, his dreams are bigger than ever. He talks about artificial intelligence, AI, robots, and the metaverse. These are not just ideas, they are his vision for the future. Jensen believes that technology can solve problems, connect people, and improve lives. AI is at the heart of Jensen's vision. He sees it as a tool that can help humanity in countless ways. AI systems can learn, adapt, and make decisions. They can assist doctors in diagnosing diseases, help farmers grow more food, and even fight climate change. Jensen often says, AI isn't just technology. It's a partner in solving the world's biggest challenges. One of the most exciting areas of AI is robotics. Jensen imagines a world where robots work alongside humans. These robots could do dangerous jobs like fighting fires or cleaning up after disasters. They could also assist in everyday tasks, making life easier for everyone. NVIDIA is building the technology to make this possible. Their GPUs power robots, giving them the ability to see, think, and move. Jensen is also fascinated by the metaverse. The metaverse is a virtual world where people can work, play, and socialize. It's like a digital version of the real world, but with endless possibilities. Jensen believes the metaverse can bring people together in new ways. Artists can create virtual galleries, teachers can hold classes in immersive environments, friends and families can meet, no matter where they are in the world. But Jensen knows that building the future is not easy. These technologies require enormous computing power. That's why NVIDIA continues to innovate. The company is creating more advanced GPUs, software, and platforms. Jensen often says, "The future won't wait for us. We have to build it." One of NVIDIA's recent projects is the Omniverse, a platform for the metaverse. It allows developers to create realistic virtual worlds. Architects can design buildings, engineers can test machines, and creators can bring their ideas to life. Jensen calls it a playground for imagination. Jensen's excitement about the future is contagious. When he talks about technology, his eyes light up. He speaks with passion and confidence, inspiring others to share his vision. But his journey hasn't been without challenges. Technology changes quickly, and the competition is fierce. Some people doubt the potential of AI, robots, and the metaverse. They worry about the risks and unknowns. Jensen understands these concerns. He believes technology should be developed responsibly. At NVIDIA, ethics and safety are a priority. Jensen often says, "With great power comes great responsibility." He encourages open discussions about how to use technology for good. Despite the challenges, Jensen remains optimistic. He believes in the power of collaboration. NVIDIA works with researchers, companies, and governments around the world. Together, they are tackling big problems, from improving healthcare to making transportation safer. Jensen calls it the power of partnership. Jensen also believes in the next generation. He supports programs that teach young people about AI, coding, and robotics. NVIDIA provides tools and resources for students and educators. Jensen often says, "The future belongs to the dreamers. Let's give them the tools to succeed." His vision goes beyond technology. Jensen talks about creating a world where everyone has access to opportunities. He imagines a future where technology breaks down barriers and lifts people up. Whether it's helping a small business grow or giving a student a chance to learn, Jensen wants technology to make a difference. One of Jensen's favorite parts of his work is hearing stories about how NVIDIA's technology is being used. He listens to doctors who are using AI to save lives. He talks to farmers who are growing more food with the help of robots. He meets creators who are designing virtual worlds in the metaverse. These stories remind him why he started this journey. Jensen's dreams have inspired millions. Young engineers look up to him as a role model. Entrepreneurs admire his courage and vision. He has shown the world that with hard work, determination, and a clear goal, anything is possible. His story proves that you don't have to choose between ambition and values. You can have both. But the question remains, what's next for Jensen Huang? He smiles when asked about the future. "The best is yet to come," he often says. He knows there are still many challenges to overcome and many dreams to chase. For Jensen, the journey never ends. NVIDIA continues to push the boundaries of what's possible. The company is exploring new ways to use AI, robotics, and the metaverse. They are working on projects that could change industries, save lives, and create new opportunities. Jensen is leading the way, just as he always has. Jensen's vision for tomorrow is not just about technology. It's about people. He believes in using innovation to make the world a better place. His journey is a testament to the power of dreams, determination, and compassion. As he often says, "We're not just building machines. We're building a future for everyone." The story of Jensen Huang is far from over. His vision continues to inspire. His work continues to create, and his dreams continue to grow. For Jensen, the future is not just something to wait for, it's something to build. And he's ready to keep building, one idea at a time.